Hiya. God, these games are so cool. I want 6. I want 6, Ace. I need a fix. Call it 6. Update Nero's bag of tricks. Oh god, I keep hitting the D-pad. There was just a tweet. There was a thing on Twitter, a meme. It was Tetris before it went woke, and it was just like Tetris game, but every piece had like breasts on it. Presumably in reference to people being upset about the new the new Grand Theft Auto game, because people are babies. They just said the new Grand Theft Auto game will have a female playable character, and people are reacting as people react when they hear women are in things. It is, in its truest form, maidenless behavior. Maybe if you stopped worrying about women in video games, you'd have some women in your life. Maybe you should join the communist party. Maybe you should communicate with some bitches. You have no bitches. You destroyed your root chakra, and you aren't going to make it. It's over. You destroyed your root chakra. like one of those ultra dramatic things where like where like Tyra Banks is like criticizing someone on Next Top Model or whatever, but it's like, you destroyed your root chakra, it's over, I was rooting for you, we were all rooting for you. I can't remember if I reblogged your I need my root chakra destroyed right now, but I was going to, and then I was like, maybe this sends a bad message. It's really funny. Like getting fucking scolded by the teacher after you like reveal that you were like the top student, and then base but and then it's like, oh, what? Oh, you destroyed your root chakra. It's over. You get nothing. You lose. Base. I'm in no way gonna do all the bloody battles. That's Devil May Cry 3. That's really impossible. I just want to keep killing enemies. I just can't. So, one thing that you could argue about Devil May Cry 5 is that in its eagerness to ensure everybody that Devil May Cry was back, they really didn't add any new modes or anything. They improved things a lot. Everything is everything is better, or at least an improvement, or at least fixed, or you know. But there's nothing like you got story mode, you got Bloody Palace, and I just kind of feel like maybe they could add a new kind of play mode. I think that could be neat. I have no problem with either of those things continuing to be in there. But I think a new mode could be interesting. Something you have to approach differently. I remember, so as one of my favorite internet reviewer people once said, trying to explain a point without like saying something that could get people to argue about what he said or about, and he's like, you kind of have to treat people like babies sometimes. Oh god, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, that's not what I wanted to happen. Like, just all the bad faith interpretations and challenges and stuff that you can get from people for saying the most innocuous things. I like peanut butter. Your silence on chunky versus smooth is deafening. Can't believe you advocate for killing people with peanut allergies. Don't you know about the labor conditions of peanuts? How could you say something like that? I know this is jam erasure. And then somebody's like a woman to enjoy sandwiches until, and then you're like, what? Who said I was a woman? Oh, of course you like peanut. Man, every time my friend will have a strong urge to play Devil May Cry after a few months, and I'll watch him and like give him advice. He'll be like, what are the moves for this? How do I do this move? And I'll tell him or whatever. And every time he will play as Dante in 5 and he'll say, what are Dante's pause combos in the air? And I'll say, Dante does not have pause combos in the air. Every time. I'm like, only Nero and Virgil have those. He's like, I feel like Dante had those. I was like, he had them in DMC Devil May Cry. And he's like, oh. And like, yeah, like how he does not have pause combos in the air. Never has. Wretched mistake indeed. Rack it up. Okay, so more details on the One Piece spoilers because they're in my head. So not only is it like they have been hyping up, or like they've been hinting at the... So there have been 2 new admirals in the Navy since the beginning of Part 2, which was in like 2010 or 11 or something. And they showed one of them, Fujitora, in the 3rd main arc of Part 2. And they showed an outline of Ryokugyu, the 2nd new admiral. And that was shortly before the current arc, which was about 4 or 5 years ago. He showed up for the first time in June this year. Next chapter he appears in, he gets fucking wrecked. Or at least Yamato just deals a real heavy hit when he looks super imposing. And then, apparently in the spoilers for the upcoming chapter, they're like, oh yeah, not only is, like, so Momonosuke insists that Yamato not fight him, so that they can fight again later. That is the real narrative reason. But like Momonosuke's like, I want to prove that I can that the people of this country can defend ourselves because you guys won't always be here. AKA Yamato is leaving with the Straw Hats. So Momonosuke wants to prove that Momonosuke, the new ruler of the land, wants to prove that he and his samurai can defend it on their own. And then he blasts what's his name, Ryokugyu, through the face or chest or whatever, and like leaves a gaping hole in him that does mend, but like Ryokugyu's real name is Aramaki. But like, so Momonosuke time traveled. He is technically only 8 years old, but he was born 28 years ago, and then he got a thing put on him, so he was like a spell, devil fruit power worked on him, so that he would age about 20 years. So he's now caught up physically to what his age should be, but he is mentally still only 8 years old, and he has only had his devil fruit powers for maybe 2-3 months, something like that. Yeah, like Shazam, but like permanently. He is now in a 28-year-old's body forever. He's supposed to be 28, but yeah, he misses. He did it to help save Luke, to help fight Kaido and save his people. And it's like the burdens of a leader are not those of a child. You'll need to be a man if you want to lead these people, and if you want to fight to the death, you can't really do it in a child's body. And all in all, it is kind of your duty. If you want to rule this country, you can't just keep being a kid. Kids can't do this sort of shit. Harsh but true. This world is not one for children. Yeah. So basically, this admiral that has been built up for a long time, he is currently getting wrecked by a child. And then here's the thing: is that he gets ready to fight back. And then Shanks is like, hey, you know, it's pretty bad form to be messing with a crew and samurai that are barely back on their feet and are in no condition to actually fight you. And he's like, so how about you back off? And then he just kind of powers up a little or something like that. Like, just does the anime thing of, let me give you just a little taste of my real power. And then Ryokugyu just starts walking away. And he's like, I don't need this. I'm not running away or anything. I just don't need to do this right now. He just leaves. Like, guess what? He is going to be considered the bitch of the admirals. Oh, okay. Nobody's going to have respect for him in the... I just have better things to do. Why are you calling me a bitch? I'm not owned I'm not owned. As I turn into a... What is it? A kernel, an ear of corn? A pumpkin? Can't believe that this is what Trish's aunt looks like. Just making a random headcanon that this is Trish's aunt. I don't think that's how demons work. Trish was made directly by Mundus, so I don't think this lady was. We don't know how it works. It's magic. It's not real. Shanks has never real... So, like, no fight with Shanks that we've ever seen has... It's rare that they ever go beyond the threat of fighting him. And then when he does fight, he usually swings once, and then the other person backs down. Yeah, these games are good. Thank you for asking. Pattern shift since you're at below half health now, or is that when you're below a third? Nope. Cool, next boss. Boss is my mistake. This is gonna be difficult. Too early. Ooh. You know, they could have just had... They could have had it be like, oh, Ryokugyu gets a call on, and like someone like comes and tells him not to fight, like a superior or a messenger or whatever. Is like, orders say you're not supposed to be here, but also it's a land that's supposed to be largely unoccupied. So, like so he's not. So I suppose there would be no like service there, if you can call what they have service, because it comes from snails. But so there's been a big paradigm shift. Snervous. So throughout One Piece, there have been major paradigm shifts in the way the world works, starting at the end of Part 1. So there were the 4 emperors, there were 2 who were considered good, 2 were considered pretty evil. Whitebeard and Shanks considered decent, and Big Mom and Kaido considered pretty evil. And then there were 3 admirals, 2 of which were considered pretty bad, and 1 who was considered decent, and a fleet admiral who was considered at least honorable, if not exactly great all the time. And then after there is an end of an era where the most evil of the after Part 1, the most evil of the admirals takes over. Whitebeard is replaced by Blackbeard, who is known for being cruel, violent, and self-serving, and and he is cunning and lustful for power, dishonorable, all that. And Shanks is the only good emperor left, and the 2 decent admirals have quit. Like the decent fleet admiral and admiral have quit, and the most evil is taken over. And it's like, well, whoever he picks is probably gonna be terrible. And then it's like, well, all the great powers are pretty imbalanced. They're 2 of the 3 great powers that define the balance of the world, or whatever. Or whatever, really kind of takes away the point of everything I say, the weight behind everything I say, doesn't it? But you know, that's just how I talk. So. Because I have very little confidence in anything I say. But then we find out that Isho, yeah, thank you. Isho, or Fujitora, one of the new admirals, actually doesn't really agree with anything that, with very much that Akainu does, and does things that in the new fleet admiral, who's shitty and evil. and he angers him and doesn't really seem to care. And then we meet, what do you call him? Oh, what the hell is his name? Ryokugyu. And we see that even though he's pretty not good, the crew has gotten to the point where he isn't a threat much of a threat anymore. And then, we go and, Luffy and company manage to topple, Kaido and Big Mom, and they have been replaced by Luffy and Buggy. Here's the thing, well, Buggy isn't good. He's like ineffectually evil most of the time. He's the bumbling villain. He hasn't been taken seriously as a threat since, like, episode 60. And he was first beaten in, like, episode 8 or something like that because, you know, Luffy is stronger than he is. So the balance is once again shifted in the favor of good, and it's neat. But here's the thing: is that Blackbeard's powers are still really dangerous. He has the power of darkness and the power of earthquakes, so not good. Or like shockwaves, vibrations. Both not good. And the power of darkness in this series means that if you touch someone, you can turn off their devil fruit powers. And it also means that he can kill people extract their devil fruit and give it and redistribute it. So he can just look for anybody whose power he thinks could be useful, kill them, take it, and then just give it to somebody else. And they show like characters whose fruits were known, and then or like their corpses really, and then or show them those powers being used by people in Blackbeard's crew, and it's like, yeah, those characters are dead now. Their powers belong to others now. Too bad. And then they leave off with an past arc villain in Blackbeard's territory after coming to try to avenge one of his crew. And things look incredibly dicey for him. And I was like, so do you think he's dead? That he escaped? Or that he defected and surrendered? And my friend was like, oh, that dude is dead. Beowulf. Now I've got your power. That's a reference to a cartoon I've never seen. I've never seen the Ruby Spears Mega Man cartoon. Why would I have? I didn't exist when it came out. Beowulf. Indeed. Boo wolf. Beowulf. Beowulf. Oh, damn it. You know, I'm kind of surprised more traditional myths haven't been made into video games. Like, takes on them have, or they get, like, incorporated into video games. Aspects of them. There have been lots of Heracles things that are sort of there, but they're never really, like, actually the legends. Or they are anime versions of the legends, you know? Like, I know that video game mechanics matter, but there's no reason that, like, the stories can't be held true or whatever. Like, guess what? The closest thing we have to a Dracula adaptation is Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis. Well, I suppose there was a video game for that one Dracula movie with Keanu Reeves and Gary Oldman. There was a video game for that on, like, the Sega CD. It was bad. It was really bad. It's one of those famously bad games. But I don't think that really counts. God, the idea, it's like, oh man, who are we gonna get in this Dracula movie? Keanu Reeves. I'm like, really? I love Keanu Reeves, but he is not British. He does not appear. He is in no way passingly British at all. Like, some actors just simply cannot do a British accent. That's fine. But, like, they cast, like, Johnny Young Bosch is Jonathan Joestar in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Johnny Young Bosch, it has been discovered, cannot do a British accent for the life of him. But he plays the extremely uptight British, or like upright British gentleman, Jonathan Joestar. Because, like, Jonathan is supposed to be fiery and noble. Like, he's got a lot of passion, but he always tries to do what's right. And it's like, yeah, Johnny Young Bosch can do that. And then it's like, he's also British. Oh, can Johnny Young Bosch do a British accent? And the answer is no. Every JoJo dub has been an experience. Every English one, I mean. Like, so I love the old dub of the OVAs. They're excellent. Not like actually good, but like very fun. And I really like the voices for, I think the voices for Dio and Jonathan Dio and Jotaro suit them very well. In part 2, so in Japanese, everybody just kind of speaks Japanese. Even though in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure parts 2 and 3, they are traveling across the world to various places where, and in part 2 there are no Japanese people at all, but they all just talk. Like, they start in New York in part 2. Then they go to Mexico. Then they go to Italy. Then they go to Switzerland. Everybody just talks to everybody with no concerns for language. And then in part 3, they start in Japan with 2 Japanese people, an Egyptian guy, and an old British guy. And then they go and pick up a French guy along the way. And then they also pick up a dog, and they travel from Japan to Egypt, and like every nation in between. It is brought up that there are different cultures and stuff, but everybody just kind of talks. Except for when Joseph swears in English sometimes. So the way that the dub deals with this is that everybody just speaks English, but in accents. So all the Italian people talk like this, and it's so fucking funny. The dub embraced the corniness, and it doesn't matter if you can't do the accent. You still do the accent. Just do it poorly, and it's really funny. So it's like, who are you? Who am I? I am a Caesar Zeppeli. And you're a Joseph Joestar, are you not? I'm like, oh, this. And then there's Stroheim, who's like, oh my god, Jojo, you need to run away from his attack. And it's so fun. But then back when you get to part 3, everybody just starts speaking the same again. Even though they're not even all from, like, speaking European languages. It's like, I'm from the United Kingdom. I am from Japan. I am from Egypt. And my name is Mohammed. That's the thing, is like, there aren't really, I don't think there are really Japanese stereotypes for how an Italian person should sound in Japanese, or how it, or at least they're not common. But we have we have an assumption of how an Italian person will sound in English. But the dub of the OVAs is just like classic dub. The stereotypical anime dub that is, the acting varies in quality depending on the take. The translation is very literal but faithful. And then there's lots of you bastard, I'm not going to let you get away with this. And you're like, yes, this is what anime should be. I said for a bit. Okay, it's only been 48 minutes. That's still longer than I expected. I only thought I'd be playing for like 10 minutes. Gotta say, every time I see Max's username, I have to remember that his name is Max and not Danny Boy. It is. It's like Devil May Cry, the potato chips of video games. Slanderous. Devil May Cry is way better than potato chips. God, like, I see other name. I think other name. Come on. Come on. I'm so tired of seeing like the constant shit about how Trudeau is like a dictator. I'm like, you guys don't even know what living under a dictator would be like. We're in Canada, for fuck's sake. You think you're oppressed? I'm pretty sure one of the intending conservative leaders, the one who is very much trying to build a reputation to be able to run against Trudeau when time comes. I think he said some slurs or something like that, or like And then it's like, oh, Trudeau sent his dogs after him or something. I don't know exactly what he did, but like, people are claiming he's been silenced or whatever. But that's the thing, is that like, it's devoid of all meaning, the term silenced, at this point. Because it could just mean I was bigoted on Twitter. Or it means that people on Twitter told me to shut up and made fun of me. Or they cut me off during the news when I started going on a rant and you were like, I've been silenced. Like, you can... He said on his blog... Like, someone hanging up the phone on you is like, oh boy. Is not them silencing you. They just don't want to talk to you anymore. Oh god. I muted myself in 2 different ways, and I unmuted myself in one way and I muted myself again in another. Anyway, good night. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Hope you have a good rest. Hope Maddie will become more accustomed to affection, and hope that, and I probably won't stream tomorrow unless I'm invited to, and I'll see you tomorrow, and if they don't stream, I might stream something like, I don't know, something simple and easy. Like your mom. I'm kidding. Anyway, good night. I'm kidding, I'm sorry. Good night.